Hello crochet friends, welcome back. We're working on our bunny and I left you last time with that bit of bulk work, right? We were going through row 35. So when you ended with row 35, you ended with that last 18 single crochets. I didn't do the chain one there on that last row. We don't need it because we're going to start sewing up. So for this portion, we need a couple of things. We're going to need some fiber fill to stuff our bunny. We'll need a yarn needle to sew it up. Some eyes. If you are using the safety eyes, I think I'm going to use 6mm safety eyes because it's not a giant bunny, but that is all preference. What size little eyes you want to use or if you want to sew them on, okay? So we're going to need a few things, and if you are using this, if it's a toy and you want it just to be soft and not stand up necessarily, or it just for a little one to hold on to, you don't need weight in the bottom. But if you want it to stand more as a decoration, you might want to put a little weight bag in the bottom of it. I kind of save these old little bags that jewelry and stuff come in, and I will fill it with weight and then sew it up. That's all you have to do. You can put a little rice in there, whatever you have that gives you that little bit of weight in the bottom of your project so it won't wobble so much. So I'm going to put that aside too. So a few little things going on here today. Okay, so I took my hook out, and like I said, we didn't need that chain one at the end because we're not going to turn our work and keep going here. What we're going to do is we are going to cut our yarn and we're going to sew this up. So I'm pulling up my loop of our last stitch there because we're going to cut this. Now we have to go around the bottom and sew the bottom up. We need to go up the side and sew that up, and then the neck, and then the head, and sew the top. So it's going to be a little bit of yarn that you need. You can cut it off for each section if you want to, or you can just make a nice long piece. I think I'm going to make a nice long piece and give it a try. So I've got about, let's see, I'm going to go maybe like 3 feet or so, thereabout. I mean, you can eye it pretty well. You're going to need it to sew the distance, but then you're going to pull it. So what's going to happen is you're going to have a lot left over, but you need it as you're going along, right? So let's give this a snip and go back up here to our original knot. And I'm just going to pull that where I snipped it. I'm going to pull it out just like that. And now we are secure there. Okay, so I need to thread my needle, which now I have all this yarn. And if you worked with me, I always have crazy amount of yarn going on when I'm sewing. It's a nervous thing. It's a personal thing, but it's okay. You do you, don't you worry. Now, when you're looking at your project, this is the bottom portion here where it was the 18 stitches. And this is the top portion. I'm sorry, I'm saying 18. I just want to make sure I'm getting this right. So 18 on this end, 14 on this end. I don't want to confuse anybody. So we're working the 18 end. So we did those 18 stitches. We have this slip stitch in between for the neck. We want to take the bottom portion of the 18 stitch part because we're working up to the top where it was the 14. I'm trying to make myself clear. I'm hoping everybody understands what I'm saying here. We want to sew this together. So this is the very bottom of our bunny. Think this is where he will stand up, okay? So we're going to start with sewing the bottom closed, and then we're going to work up the side until we work on the neck, okay? So we are just going to take our yarn and we're going to go through. As you can see, I kind of have it folded in half a little bit, right? And we're just going to cinch it up. So I'm just going to weave through the stitches at the very top there. Can you see I'm going in and out, okay? In and out of these stitches. And then what we'll do when we're all done, we're going to pull it together. And then if it is not closed up all the way, which it might not be because this is a lot here, we can just sew it from the inside. Sew it up closed, and that'll make our bottom just right. So as you're going along, if you need to pull your yarn through like that, right? And just keep going along, back and forth, back and forth. And we're going to cinch this up closed here, okay? I'm hoping you can see what I'm doing. If you have another way that you want to cinch it up, go ahead. That is all good. Whatever works for you. If there is something that works easier for you, please, by all means, feel free, okay? Everybody do you. I'm just trying to help out a little bit. And I know that y'all have lots of great ideas, so I don't have to worry about y'all. Okay, when you get to the end there, right, we're going to pull it. We're going to pull all of it. There we are. Looking good. Try not to get your tails confused. And that happens. I mean, we get all this stuff going every which way, don't we? So I'm pulling this through. I want to make sure I got my tail. I'm trying to watch it as it's going through here. Make sure I have, yep, that's the one I want right there. Make sure I have the right one. I don't want to pull the whole thing through and mess myself up, right? Oh, that would be terrible. Okay, so here I am. I'm going pulling everything through. So go ahead, cinch it up nice and tight. See, it's starting to close up on you, right? And we're going to make sure all these tails are on the inside. So give it a good tug. Let's close this up. Okay, now, if you still have a little bit there, see it? If it's not closing up all the way, you can knot this if you want and sew it up and then work up the sides. We can do it that way if you want to, or if you just want to cinch this up yourself right here and knot it, whatever works for you. I'm going to make a knot right here. I've got it pulled nice and tight. I'm going to go through a couple stitches here and make a knot. I'm holding it down as I'm doing this so that it will stay good for us. Okay, I'm going to look on the other side and see I have a little opening. So from the inside, I'm going to sew this together and make it so that we don't have to worry about any fluff or weights coming out the bottom. Okay, so if you need to sew yours, go right ahead. Okay, once you get that bottom all sewn and closed up, we need to go up the sides. So this is the 18 stitches before the slip stitch there, right? And then we're working toward the top where the 14 are. So we want to evenly get together the 18 stitches here. You can do a whip stitch if you'd like, or if you want to do kind of the back and forth and then give it that little tug and it kind of cinches it together. I know everybody kind of has their own way of doing this, so I don't want to deter anyone's way of sewing seams together. I've got myself in a knot. Look at this. Okay, so I'm going to go trying to keep everything as tight as I can together here. You can pin this if you want, or use a stitch marker or whatever, you know, to hold it together. But I'm going to go from side to side, and I'm just going to pinch it with my hand, checking it every once in a while, make sure I'm not deviating too far from getting them even, the two sides even. And I'm just going to go working my way all the way up to the neck. We want to stop at the neck, okay? Because we're going to go around the neck and we're going to stuff first the bottom portion here a bit so that we can get it good and down in the bottom there, right? So keep going along back and forth, however you are sewing your bunny together. And we're just doing that portion where it was the 18 single crochets. Okay, here we go. Okay, once you get to the top, I give mine a little tug and it kind of pulls the seam nicely. And I think it looks good. I like it. I hope yours looks good too. I mean, I know it's the back of the bunny, but still you want it to be, as neat as possible. So, and I'm hoping that you are now at the slip stitch portion and you were able to keep it as neat and straight as you could. It's a little tricky, I know. But before we start on the neck next, we want to stuff our bunny. So give it its weight, give it a little bit of stuffing in there so it starts to look good. This won't be closed up all the way if you need to get a little more in there later. So go ahead and start stuffing. Okay, I've got my stuffing in there and I am ready to go here. So I'm going to just hold this together like this and push my stuffing in there the best I can. What we want to do is remember our slip stitch. It was kind of cinched in here. We're going to go back and forth, again, back and forth with our needle through here, through these stitches, staying on the slip stitch portion, and then we're going to give it a little tug at the end and pull it together. So like I was saying, it's not going to be completely tightly closed, because then our head would flop all around on our neck, wouldn't it? That wouldn't work. But we're going to just cinch it in a little so we have a little definition between our body and our head. Okay, so just keep going along. You can see I'm just going in and out with the needle here. And I'm going to go all the way to the other side there where I began. So keep going along until you get to the other side. Okay, once you get to the other side, just give it a little tug and see how it's cinching itself up, right? So we have a definition between our head and our neck. So again, I wouldn't make it too tight, just because I think then the head will kind of flop around on there, and I don't know, it would be a little lopsided, I think. So, keep an eye on it, and then if you need more stuffing, which I think I might put it's standing pretty good, but there's some spots that feels a little bare to me. I'm going to give it a little more stuffing. So pull this to your desired tightness. Add as much stuffing as you like, and then we're going to continue up the head. We are not going to close it until we put our eyes on, though, okay? So just to give you a heads up, like if you're kind of working a little ahead, because I know I'm slow, just don't close it up until you put eyes on if you're using safety eyes. So continue stuffing. Okay, once you're stuffed enough, I'm going to go up the top here just like I did at the bottom. One side and then the other, right? Going back and forth. And then we will position our eyes and close up the head. So go ahead and just go back and forth, closing up this portion of the head of your bunny. Here we go. Okay, once you get this all pulled tight there, okay, and your back is all sewn up, this is where we want to put the eyes on, and I've kind of positioned mine to show you what we're looking at here. So I've kind of got them laying sideways because otherwise I don't think we're gonna be able to see them very good. But if you have a little nose and you want to do the safety nose, you can do that. But I'm gonna put the two little eyes on, and they're not far down. So let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, about 7 down. But that's going to be preference. So you can see that we have to close the head up, right? We're going to close this up. So if you kind of try to give yourself that visual, you're going to close up your head, and then your little bunny ears are going to be up on top once we make those. Then kind of go by it how you want it to be. Just what I would suggest is know where your back is and kind of get them in the middle so that your bunny is in proportion in the middle of your work there. That's all. So eyes, if you're going to put them on, this is the time to do it. If you want to do a little nose, you can do that. Or you can embroider all this on, okay? But if you're going to put those on, pop them on while you can reach and get the inside, right? And then stuff your head, and then we're going to work on closing up the head. Here we go. Okay, once your eyes and nose are on and you've got your stuffing inside the head there, we need to close up the head, right? So we're going to do just like we did at the bottom. And we are going to go back and forth through our stitches and pull this nice and tight. If it still has a hole in the top when you're done, we can sew that. Try to be, and I know I'm not very good at this either, but try to be as neat as you can with this, only because it's going to be showing, like we were able to tuck in the bottom because that's, we had an opening. Our ears will be on top. That will definitely help us with this. So just, try to be as neat as you can, closing up your head with this. But I know it's not always easy. So I'm laughing because I have that same problem. I'm not the super neatest. I don't know if that's a way to say it, but I'm not the neatest when it comes to sewing. So, but as you're closing it up, please check that you have enough stuffing in your head there when you're going along. And let's get this head closed up, finish up the body portion of our bunny, and get him looking good. So take your time with this. So back and forth through your stitches, cinching as you're going along, and stuffing. Here we go. Okay, if you have a little bit of a hole and you need to give it some stitching back and forth, that's okay. Just watch out for your stuffing. I can see mine's kind of poking out as I'm sewing along here. Do your best to try to keep that inside there. But, sometimes that hole, you can't pull it all the way tight. And we got to do this. And then just knot it and pull your yarn through the body so it will hold your, hide your tail in there and hold it in. It's all good. So see, I'm kind of just closing it up. Now we will have ears on top too. So if that helps you to do some hiding, that's always good. Just go back and forth. But do make sure that you've knotted it. We don't want it coming undone. Oh, that would be terrible. And all our stuffing go everywhere. Okay, I think mine's pretty closed up. I'm giving it a tug. I don't want it to look like he has a cone head, I'm trying not to make it too bulky there. But yeah, so just give it a knot. Okay, I'm knotted, and then I just take my yarn and I go through my head here and pull it through, and then we can cut it. So without cutting your work, give it a little tug so it'll go in the body after. Give it a cut. Okay, now it's in the body. All right, and that's a fairly clean head. I think it'll be okay once we get the little ears on there. So it probably looks a little funny right now, right? We've got this weird little body going on, weird little head going on, but we are going to have ears and a bunny tail, and we're going to decorate around here with a little ribbon. It will definitely look like a bunny when we're all done. I know mine's hot pink, but you're like, I just, that's my creativeness, and I like them hot pink like that. So I'm going to try and, I'd like to stand them up for you to see, but it's hard to get the full picture there. Maybe not. I'll definitely be taking a picture for you. So hopefully yours looks equally as well. I'm excited about mine. I like it. I think the weight is good. He's standing nice. I like that. So anyway, that's putting the body together. I know it was a lot, but I wanted to walk you through it and make sure everybody was on the same page and that it was working out well for you. So there it is, and we'll continue working next time. We'll get going on some ears. I'll see you then. Thank you, and have a joyful day.